Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we are back to another recording slash live stream of Hearthstone. Didn't get the best of trade elves here, so I guess I want to get rid of the one that limits me here of the 240s. That way I can win 3 games in any class. Play 10 combo cards, that's a little bit easier. Play 10 Divine Shield cards, that's pretty easy too. Yeah, that all kind of works together. Let's go ahead and say what day it is. It is April 26th, so we are quickly approaching May, which is May the 4th be with you, and my Star Wars, one of my Star Wars games is already out. I think we have a new Tavern Brawl to do. Let's start with that. So last live stream happened on a Sunday, and I don't know if it was because it was on a Sunday or what, but YouTube did not even announce that I was live until like 2 hours after I'd stopped streaming, so somewhere close to 3 or 4 hours. Help Yogg-Saron find a servant. Your deck is full of wannabes who cast random spells at a random target when played. Alright. Well, I guess I'll just take Paladin here for simplicity's sake, just in case any of those cards actually have Divine Shield in them. So, because YouTube didn't even announce that I was live, nobody came on at all, and it was a pretty quick stream. Now, maybe that will be the same case here, but at the very least I waited to see that YouTube would announce that I'm live, and they did. And in the future cases, if it doesn't announce that I'm live, I think I will just probably stop the stream before even starting it, so you may see I'm live on my channel for a second or a few minutes, and then I may just stop it, wait a couple minutes and try again. I may even schedule things for like 5 minutes in the future in a similar ways. Let's just go ahead and start early with this. Just so I have the best chance of viewers to actually come on, because streaming is still working a lot better than pre-recorded Hearthstones, and it seems kind of unfairly so, in my opinion. I think the game should be more balanced on YouTube. I think when I schedule something and spend that extra amount of effort to have something come out and pre-record it, which means I probably am going to edit it. Like, live streaming means no editing, unless you're doing live editing, which almost nobody, I would guess, on YouTube is actually doing. So like, as I think about that, it seems like they're giving an unfair advantage to. What's this do? I don't even know.
Weapons ready. Shield,
This is a weird tavern brawl this week anyways. I don't have a ton of stuff to talk about, even though I've kind of had some extra time. It's just been a dry news week. There was a couple of announcements I missed. Most definitely. Well, now that thing has rage.
A demo.
With all this random damage happening, like, I need more death rattle characters, I think. So I played with this website called Not Bot or Not, looking at my own Twitter account, and it says I'm a 55% chance that I'm a bot. I could see that. Like, the vast majority of of the people who follow me on Twitter are bots. At the very least, it seems that that's the case.
Stratholme will be purged.
But that's also a major problem in itself with Twitter in general, is that normal people aren't on Twitter. It's just famous people. And so it's kind of silly. I fully admit that I want people to follow me on Twitter, but they can also follow me on Facebook if they want to. It works, I think, the same. Although, let's be honest, you're probably not going to be guaranteed to see all of the posts on Facebook. And that's why you should follow Twitter. And it kind of gives a nice split there, too. What can I do to make my channel less body? I could have more normal people, certainly, on my channel that follow me. I could, let's see, we have 6, so this, and then this. What minion is getting Wind Fury? Oh, so many spells. Let's see. This. Or this. And I can't do anything about this, so I'm just gonna attack the face here and move forward. Yeah, I could have more people, more real people follow me on Twitter. I'd like to have less bots following me on Twitter, but what can I do? As I understand it, and maybe I completely misunderstand how Twitter is supposed to work, you're supposed to hashtag a bunch of things. Those bots are looking at hashtags, and they're the only ones that are going to bother to follow me. At the main course of it, though, it's not as important to me as it is to get more subscribers on YouTube, because that's where the big money is. As far as I'm concerned, that's where darn it, I have to kill this guy. That's where YouTube looks at my channel. That's where YouTube decides to suggest more things. YouTube doesn't care one bit how many Twitter followers I have, and so, yeah. But the bot or not program is also really bad. And this really has nothing to do with video games. I was just going to talk about it since there's lesser things to talk about. In the recent update for Bayonetta, which I do own but I haven't started playing yet, squeezing that in is proving itself to be more and more difficult, because particularly because of BioShock Infinite is causing me trouble right now. I should just say right now, it's like I wasn't fully in love with BioShock Infinite when it first came out. I don't think it's as good as BioShock 1. I don't even think it's as good as BioShock 2. I think it has some major problems. I think it presents a concept that you would be very familiar with if outside of video games, but it presents kind of this huge mess, in my opinion, of different concepts that aren't very well thought out or explained at all. But it's kind of the first time you saw that a video game capable of telling this story, and people kind of fell in love with it and got on the hype train. For as much as people loved BioShock 1, they were kind of willing to overlook their own personal dislike of BioShock 2, which BioShock 2 isn't as good as 1, but it's, in retrospect, I found it alright. And they were still on the hype train with BioShock Infinite, and what BioShock Infinite actually promised versus what it delivered is very arguably completely different things.
Put your faith in the light.
Oh, darn it. Well, do I have any demons? Nope. So I'm struggling now to finish BioShock Infinite, and that's definitely part of the reason why I didn't want to play it when I covered the remasters of BioShock 1 and 2. Is that, yes, it would also be very silly. For a second there, I thought that that yellow explosion meant I got a legendary. It would be kind of silly to play 3 BioShock games back to back, but also I just didn't really want to play it, and I still don't really want to play it, and because I seem to almost constantly run into games that I'm just not in the mood for because I'm doing this as a job instead of as a normal video game player would do it, where they would get only maybe 4 or 5 games a year. Here I'm trying to do 4 or 5 games a month, and the level of exhaustion, the level of disinterest, I guess we'll play Divine Shield deck here, is just a lot higher. Here we go, Shield Silver Champion. We'll just play ranked. Might as well play everything ranked. So yeah, I'm trying to struggle through that. After I finish BioShock Infinite, then I'm probably gonna have to look and see if there's what needs to be done, which means I need to do some paperwork, which I haven't done any scheduling of videos in a while. And then after, either I'm recording something else, which is very possible, in fact almost certain, then I will either be recording the Pirates of the Caribbean game for the kids slot, or I'll be recording maybe Assassin's Creed Brotherhood, or something else or similar to that. But after I get back around, there's all the DLC for Borderlands 1, which I'm, in comparison, playing Borderlands 1, which in itself is kind of a dated game and has some problems. I am definitely enjoying the enjoyed that a lot more than I am BioShock Infinite. BioShock Infinite in particular is really slow and doesn't have very many challenging characters or waves. It just seems like that happens. I don't even know why, because in comparison to BioShock 1 and 2, the game was sort of tough. And you could make it tougher playing on hardcore mode and harder difficulties in BioShock 1 and 2. In Infinite, you're constantly being given items, but you can't hold on to like health kits or extra magic juice in the form of salts. So that in itself is a problem.
Don't worry, loves. The cavalry's here.
Might hit this guy. So in comparison to BioShock 1, when you're about to die, you would just hit the B button and heal yourself, and you'd have 5 health kits that I think would refill your health to the maximum every time. In this case, nothing like that is happening. You just have to deal with it. Let's go ahead and just attack the face. So, yeah, I don't like the fighting mechanic. I don't like the fact that you run around to half the items and collect things. Since I have BioShock Infinite, as you probably will get it these days, with the season pass and everything, you're given like 5 of what I can, let's see, 5 of 30 upgrades at the very beginning of the game, so the game becomes significantly easier. and I think you got those from the Clash of Clouds DLC, which is a multiplayer DLC I'll never play. The Burial at Sea DLC I haven't ever played, so I do want to get to that. I'll find that possibly more interesting. I would hope. Let's see. Darn it.
Reporting for duty.
Let's see.
Charge!
Go ahead and just hit. I wish I could have played this than that. So I could have given them a bunch of shields, but I don't even think that's how this is going to work. So yeah, it's kind of a surprising thing. I don't think many of my reviews are extremely controversial or against the grain of people. Sometimes I have some really negative reactions. Like, I didn't find Reigns to be an interesting game at all, but how much of that was real people liking that game and how much of that was just my perception from watching video game reviewers. I think I'm getting more pulled away towards video game reviewers' opinions than actual people's opinions, which that's a weird way to express that, but
back to your homes.
Let's see. I have 6, so I don't want to do this until I kill one person. And then we can do this.
Reporting for duty.
And then kill this.
Reporting for duty. The battle.
Here.
The battle.
Here.
The battle.
And here. And then in the turn. Yeah, I don't know if I've really had a majorly controversial opinion on any games otherwise. So yeah, they're teasing it in the update for Bayonetta Vanquish. I haven't ever played Vanquish, so I'm interested in learning some more information about that game. I've never even heard of it, so that's a hole in my head. There is also a rumor that a Bayonetta 3 might be coming out. Now, here's the problem with that. If Nintendo's not going to let Bayonetta 2 come to PC, which at this rate, Bayonetta 2 kind of needs to have come out I don't even know when you would have been the right time. Like 6 months from now, we kind of need a Bayonetta 2 to come out, and if that's not the way it's going to happen, if we don't get Bayonetta 2 either 6 months to a year from now, then what's the point of Bayonetta 3 coming to PC? That seems kind of crazy to me. And I've never played Bayonetta 2, so maybe they could skip the story completely and go in a different direction. In a lot of ways, you could just play Bayonetta 1 and ignore the fact that there was a 2. But I wouldn't want to do that.
You pay, I protect.
The battle! The battle! For justice!
So, 1, 2, 3, 4, and return. But yeah, I really couldn't hold it against them if they did just come out with the PC version of Bayonetta 3 and then Bayonetta 2 never comes out. That would suck, but it wouldn't be terrible. I would assume that they could do some kind of recap, or there's a decent chance in my mind that Bayonetta 3 might not even center around Bayonetta as a character, which would be weird, but I wouldn't find it incredibly crazy.
Reporting for duty.
Should have paid.
Reporting for justice.
Trying to use up as many attacks here. We'll go and greet this guy. Hey,
Well met.
do we have any friend requests? Nope. Yeah, I didn't think that's gonna happen too much. Call of Duty World War II was announced, which is not Call of Duty 2, but this... How did I die? That's an interesting question. He must have been able to wear me down, or I wore myself down. I think that was an incredible misplay on my part, and I wasn't even paying attention to it. World War II first-person shooter does not interest me in one bit, but for people who want to know, there's going to be a campaign, multiplayer, co-op, and zombies, and it's due November 3rd. So, I've put a decent amount of actual information into that announcement.
I will fight with honor.
But most definitely not a game that interests me, not a game that I'd probably play. If I'm on my channel deciding to go through a series of first-person shooters, that's going to be at almost the very bottom of the list of games. So of my 650 plus games on Steam, first-person shooters that are militaristic is probably going to be like pushed back years, if not decades, if not my entire lifetime. And by the time I do get around to playing some of those, I could probably hand pick the ones that still work, that still have a reason to play them, and have any argument or reason to it at all. Come on, hit this guy. But I can certainly understand some people do like those games. And the World War II aspect actually does appeal to me probably more than the main game by itself. Just the regular in the modern era game. Games of well, I got a victory there, but like, yeah, Modern Warfare then gets a little bit crazy, because I don't know if I would want to play Call of Duty Modern Warfare. I don't know if I would want to play Team Fortress or Counter-Strike Go. I don't know if Team Fortress really is the right one there. I don't know if there's another competitor to Call of Duty these days. I don't know if I want to play Halo. There's just so many different shooters, and none of them have enough to even interest me to know which one I want to play. That's where it falls to. But what does interest me is the game that is pretty infamous. The full motion video game called Night Trap has apparently been announced. Now, one of the problems with the announcement, I think, here is that I'm hoping it's been announced by a real person that actually owns the rights to it, and not just some scam or hoaxer. But if it is coming out for its 25th anniversary, that is going to be amazing. And I also have to kind of wonder, should I work towards that series, because I have been planning. It's been on my list a lot higher than playing first-person shooters, to cover some first-person full motion video games, because they are laid back. They have a lot of, like, well, it's people and bad actors usually instead of animation. There's a new one called Contradiction that I think people should play.
Reporting for duty. For justice.
But I haven't purchased it yet. There's a bunch of Tex Avery games I have already lined up for that. So full motion video was, in a lot of ways, what my plan was going to be to replace the Telltale game, line up as far as point and click adventures once we've run out of that, because they are pretty similar, but then I would have to kind of prematurely end it there, or you know, I could just mix it back and forth. Night Trap is infamous because I think it led to the creation of the ESRB. A bunch of loony senators got it in their head that it was corrupting the youth, much in the exact same way as the comic book code authority got created. And I mean, Congress apparently loved to have meetings about really stupid things. At least now, Congress and the Senate have really stupid meetings about important things. If I'm gonna get a little bit political there, at the very least, now they are wasting their time on the right thing. They're just doing it in an incredibly inefficient political way. But yeah, there was congressional hearings on this game because there's a few scenes that if you lose, this teenage girl gets hooked with basically what it was, a toy around her neck, and then they drag her off and into the off screen, and that was so scary and evil looking that they decided to have congressional hearings about it. It's ridiculous. It's the same thing with music. It's just pro-censorship stuff. I guess slightly pro-censorship on my part. I just realized that Trump, the Hearthstone player, not Trump, the President of the United States, is sponsored by G2A. I think Crip was, and then he took it off, and so we may find out eventually Trump takes it off too. So I don't see any real reason why people should not watch the people that they like just because they're sponsored by somebody. In the end, it boils down to, is the fact that somebody's sponsored such a compromise of what you're getting out of their personality. So, like, as a video game critic, if I'm sponsored, I've completely compromised my credibility, and because of that, nobody really has any reason to watch me unless I do it very, very carefully and make it blatantly apparent that the sponsorship is for something that's not in the video game field. Like, if I was sponsored by Doritos and Coke, for example, which are big name things, and I never get that sponsorship deal. I'll probably never get any sponsorship deal. At the very least, then people aren't gonna say, well, I'm loving the new Call of Duty game because I was sponsored by Doritos and Coke. Although there is still some weird connections there, definitely. Divine Shield.
Put your faith in the light. Victory! Job's done.
But in comparison, if I was sponsored by Microsoft, well, then all of a sudden I might start saying all the Microsoft games are great, and then my credibility is out the window. So for Trump, he's sponsored by G2A, so all the links on any games he might be linking to probably are going to go to G2A. I think in a lot of ways, when you're doing any business with a company that's that bad, the argument is being made in the same way that when Gearbox does business with G2A, the argument is being made that you are losing your credibility completely when you work with unacceptably, what's the word?
Well met.
Don't test me,
Bad
child.
people, like unethically corrupt people, which is what people are accusing G2A of, is bad business practices. So if you're working with somebody who's known to have bad business practices, it immediately taints you. And so, yeah, like, I think the appropriate suggestion where I will say do whatever you want. If you want to watch Trump, the Hearthstone player, watch him. I don't watch either one of them. In fact, I only found this out as I was unsubbing him and Crippen from my Twitter, just so I could get back to just seeing video game publishers, which I almost unscrubbed Ken Levine's new company, Ghost Story Games, because I didn't recognize that it used to be called Irrational Games, and they were the makers of Bioshock and Bioshock Infinite, Bioshock 1 at least. But it's not fully that team. He's going with a much smaller team now. But yeah, I was trying to cull and clean up my Twitter and almost unsub from him. So we've done really good here. I need one more Divine Shield minion and just 10 combo cards and we're going to be done. And again, it's a case of nobody has chatted or anything, but I can't really blame YouTube this time. I saw the email came out to me. Now, does that mean that the announcement and the email went to everybody? I can't guarantee that as far as the fact that I'm live. But also, I can't do anything about that. That is a consistent claim and probably is happening a lot, is that people are not getting notified of when people are live or when videos go up. And the best thing I can only say is click the subscribe button and click that bell next to it and make sure you get it. And then follow me on Twitter or have an RSS reader or follow me on Facebook, whatever you might be checking very consistently on a day-to-day basis. Now, if you're not like me and you don't check anything on the hour every hour, well then you're not going to have a great chance. And I suspect that's a lot of people too, is that they just are actually working jobs that wouldn't allow them, or they're going to school that wouldn't allow them to watch things as they're live. Which, okay, so if you miss it and you see it later, that's not a big deal either. Just come back and rewind and watch it. Anyways, stay tuned if you're watching live. That's it for this recording, though. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. If you want a friend or follow me on basically any social media sites, there's a whole bunch of links down below in the description. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.